And welcome to episode 7 of the Stephen King podcast. We are Hot Book Sluts, and we're bringing you slutty action today. Turning it over to the hottest of sluts, Thomas.
Hey,
What do you have to say
sluts.
today?
In that
I
robe
s-
of his.
yeah, I do it for the viewers. Not that I'm just always in a robe. So excited to talk about The Stand today. How's my other
Excited.
hottest slut, Christy?
I'm great, you guys. It's the weekend. I'm so close. I wish I had a little bit more time this week to get a little bit more
Oh,
reading done because I would be done. I have like
nice.
4 chapters left.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's solid.
Tail end here. Things are exciting. Yeah,
I
that's
was
great.
having to hold back my you were talking about how you're like, yeah, I'm at the start the downslope of the
Yeah, and
climax. I'm
it's
like,
like
no, you're not.
that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
kind of,
that's
but like,
yeah. Yeah.
Does it feel like kind of like I know last time we met it felt like you were at the top of the roller coaster.
It felt
Is
like I
that how
was
it felt?
it felt like I was starting to go down, like still at the top but starting to go down, not sitting on top, not the apex,
Yeah,
but now it feels like I'm just rushing down. Like I'm still rushing down to the
yeah.
bottom.
Like
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. It's great.
I I think I raced through like that last chunk in just like one day because I just like
Yeah.
had to know what was gonna happen.
I wanted so badly to finish last night, but it was already like 2 in the morning, so I was like, I should go to sleep.
You, you stayed up
I'm-
till 2?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I was hoping I would have a little bit more time during lunch to read, but it did not. So, I think I only read like for actually maybe 15, 20 minutes during
Yeah.
lunch. But um I was trying so hard to get finished, but also not like rush through because I didn't want to like speed read through and then not pick up stuff. So,
yeah.
there's no fun in that. Anyway, next meeting though, and we'll be
So
done.
where did you stop? What was one of the last things that was happening?
Um, it's oh, which actually, by the way, before we get started, Jeremy, how are
Oh,
you?
oh, I'm doing amazing.
We
Doing
didn't we
amazing.
didn't we didn't pass it on to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
It's just too excited. Um, well, good. I'm glad you're doing good. Amazing,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Um,
So what is Nick doing?
yeah. So I'm on 75.
Mm-hmm.
Like right at the beginning, and Tom is talking to Nick. Yes. Now he has been talking to him in dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nick is the one who's been guiding him right back
Mm-hmm.
home, um, in his dreams, and Nick is talking. Um, this particular scene, though, Tom is actually up and walking around outside with Nick during
Mm.
during this storm that's like coming through. Um,
Yeah.
so that's interesting. I'm not really. It's like the first little section of chapter
Mm-hmm.
75, so I'm not really much other than them talking together and Nick showing the big scar that he has on his leg that he almost died from. That's really
Mm.
all I've gotten. So yeah,
It it felt s-
interesting.
it was like so intense because I think would you say for both of you was like Nick your favorite character for both of you?
Yes,
Yeah, Glenn Bateman was like a tight second, but it was Nick.
Yeah.
Like I just
I
love
w-
Nick.
yeah, Nick is definitely my favorite. I think a close second is Stu for me, and then like really really close is Glenn after that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah.
And and then there's the explosion and Nick is just like ripped from the story, unexpected. It felt really
Right.
unexpected to me
It did. Yeah. Uh-huh.
because up until that point, I don't think any major character had died, right?
Yeah, I don't think
No,
so.
I'm trying to think of people that like died before that?
There
Because
was
you learned about the judge afterwards. Yeah, I feel
Rita.
like it was Rita, and that
But I
was
mean, she wasn't
really
like she was never a major character, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, the judge dies. The judge and Dana die after the explosion in Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, I don't think there is any major character death. It's small ones, like the groups
Yeah.
that they would talk about that were coming to Boulder. The pregnant lady who lost both her twins, or
Oh yeah.
one of the other guys that I think Larry was traveling with, who his appendix burst, and obviously, oh no, it was the Stu actually tried to do. So it was Stu and Glenn
Yeah,
and that
I remember
party.
that.
They had some guy who was with their party, and his appendix burst before they got to
Mm.
Boulder, and Stu tried to perform surgery on him as if he has any clue what he's doing, and he
I think
died
it was
before.
Mark.
Yeah, I think it was Mark. Yeah, it was only minor stuff like that, so nothing major
Mm-hmm.
before the bomb in Boulder. It was hard.
How was all that read up? Because I remember it just flying by and just being so astounded that that's how it was going down
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh. I was not expecting that. I don't really know. It was hard to know what to expect, because
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about the four of them being sent basically to their deaths by Mother Abigail. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. Was not expecting an A bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember as I was reading, they're walking, thinking what is going to happen
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and I didn't really have any frame of reference at all for how it was going to work out, because what are
Yeah.
four unarmed people going to do against them? And kind of gave
Yeah.
me that well, you have to
Mm.
have faith in the powers that be. Like, you were
Exactly.
given this
Yeah.
mission and told to abide by these terms. And I loved all the conversations on the way there, where they're thinking the same thing. They're like, what do we do when we get
Mm-hmm.
there? It's not even worth making a plan because there's nothing for us to do.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna be captured as soon as we get there, and um, there was also the constant I feel like war with themselves to break the rules that
Mm-hmm.
Mother Abigail set. Like when Stu fell and he breaks his leg, right? And Larry's just like, we can't leave him. Like, we can't
Mm-hmm.
leave him behind. That's horrible. Which obviously, yes, it is horrible to do that to somebody. But those were the terms. He can't walk, and they aren't allowed to use a car. So that's
And
that's
I
hard.
remember,
Having faith to keep continuing on and leave somebody behind like that.
and
Yep.
the amount of strength that it took the character of Stu to decide to be the one championing the only way forward, which was for them to leave him to die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas, would you say you've read any other book that has a similar ending? Because I would say no. I don't think I've come across any other book that has a similar ending. You're kind of thinking, oh, are they gonna gear up for some giant battle, good versus evil? Like they're both shooting at
Right.
each other with machine guns.
Yeah.
But that's not how it plays out at all. And I can't think of any other book that has like a similar ending. So.
I can't think of one where the path to success was faith.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah.
those
Mhm.
terms. I'm
Right.
sure they're out there, and I don't read much directly Christian literature. As much as some C.S. Lewis stuff or J.R. Tolkien could be considered Christian,
Mm-hmm.
founded fiction. But yeah, nothing comes to mind. If there was some big climax, it was often everything I can think of was planned, or it was some type of last stand.
Yeah.
And this is a
Yeah.
stand. But it's different because a stand implies we're going down with the ship and we're going to be here when the enemy comes and face them. Whereas this,
Yes.
their stand is just going to the enemy and saying I won't be beaten by you. Here I am. Do what you want
Yeah.
with me. You can't beat what
Right.
I have.
Right.
And it's so interesting because like what they have, like their actual faith is just in their love for each other and the relationships they built and how they all came together in Colorado. Like it's not some god, it's not some big magical power. Like that's all they're going on, is that they've had these dreams, and
Right.
the only way they know how to fight is by following this obscurity. And yeah, that's absolutely not like anything else I've read.
Yeah.
Thomas, you have a great way of describing books. It's almost like you're reading from
You
a
really
teleprompter. I mean,
No, you really do. You like I
right?
wish I could use the words that you use in the way that
Yeah,
you use them, because
yeah. He's like,
I
they were
don't.
held together by the love for each other.
You're like,
I was like,
what?
is he reading this? Like,
You
where's he
should
getting this from?
yeah, you should review books.
Seriously, yeah, you need
They
to
were held
review
together
it.
by the love for each other. Dramatic fuck.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I liked
How
all of that.
Yeah. Christy, I think we brought it up a couple episodes ago. So you had the two parallel tunnel scenes. So there's two
Mhm.
tunnel scenes, right? And then
Yeah.
there's
And there were
also
two yeah, well, sorry, go ahead.
prison scenes.
Yeah.
So you've got the
Yes.
two
Yeah,
parallels
the
there
prison
too. You
scenes.
had
Yep.
Lloyd, who bows down basically to Randall Flagg, and then you have the opposite, prison scene, which has the complete opposite outcome.
Right.
What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was interesting because I think when I don't think Lloyd is there when they're first put in their prison cells, but Lloyd comes by with Randall Flagg to come see Glenn. And I think he's described as like looking well, he's pretty much always described as looking terrified when he's around Randall, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
So and so I kept thinking, it was like, man, he's got to be sitting there thinking about his time being stuck in a cell while he's looking at Glenn, and they're,
I didn't
trying
even
to.
really think about that initially. That's cool that that's what you were.
Yeah, I kept
Yeah.
thinking, I was like, obviously he's probably mostly terrified, or looks terrified, because of the man that he is with. He,
Huh.
won't even look him in the eyes or in the face, which most people won't. But he's got to also be thinking of where he came from, and what Randall got him out of, as
Mhm.
they're, well, they weren't really interrogating Glenn, but talking to him, and thought that was interesting. It was I guess poor Glenn never got out of his cell. He was
Yeah.
stuck there. Oh gosh, he had such a good line right before he died. Oh, it was so good.
Mhm.
It made me think of, I have to go find it. Let me go find it. It made me think of Jesus on the cross at the end.
Right?
Did it make you think of that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the episode that you weren't here for, me and Thomas talked about that extensively.
Yeah. Let's see. He said, oh, okay, so Lloyd had already shot him, like in the stomach. Oh, shot him 3 times. And he's,
Mhm.
down on the ground, and he sort of props himself up, and he's whispering to Lloyd, and he goes, "It's all right. You don't know any better."
Mhm.
And then he shoots him in the face.
Yeah.
One, I thought that was like it was a powerful way to end it, basically. Famous last words, maybe not famous last words, but it was just this really, really great last line for him. And that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, that just sounds like, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Mhm.
It's exactly what it made me think of, and I thought that was pretty powerful.
Yeah, the episode that we just had together, everything leading up to that kind of reminded me of Jesus' sacrifice. The four of them going in completely defenseless, reminded
Yes.
me of when they're surrounded by, I guess, Roman soldiers in the Garden of Gethsemane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think was it Paul who rages out and takes a sword to the one of the guards, and then Jesus heals his ear,
I
and
believe so, yeah.
he
He was
basically
behind.
says, "Hey, we're not going to fight them. We're just going to be defenseless and let them take us
Right.
in."
Yep.
And what I thought was interesting is, so there's obviously three of them, right? Because Stu is injured, and so I
Right.
wonder if he was trying to draw a parallel between, if you remember in the story, it wasn't just Jesus who died. There was
It was
also
two
two other
other.
criminals
Yep.
on
That's
either
exactly
side
what
of
I thought
him.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, so there would be three total.
Uh-huh.
And there's I think it's a thief, and obviously he's done things that are wrong, like Larry Underwood,
Right.
like a guy who's had kind of a checkered past.
Right.
But Jesus turns to him and basically says something to the effect of, on this day you will be with me in my kingdom, or something to that effect. So I
Right.
wonder if Larry was supposed to take the role of that guy, that criminal with like the checkered past, who
Mhm.
like eventually gets redemption in the
Right.
end.
I think there's a point where even Ralph says he had spent some time in jail or prison
Oh,
before as
okay.
well. And
Hmm.
Stu is the only, or sorry, not no, Stu's not there. Glenn is with them. I think Glenn is the only one has not, if I
Hmm.
remember that correctly. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree though. There is a parallel between Larry and the thief. Yeah, totally.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, that whole sequence had me thinking of right before his crucifixion.
Hmm.
I thought it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
I like that you described the scene with Glenn in the jail as powerful, because that's like the best word for it.
That's
It's
how,
just
yeah, it
like him
felt that
laughing in
way
his
to
face
me.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
watching. One of my favorite parts is watching Randall Flagg like degrade, him
Yes.
just
Lose his
losing,
composure. Yeah.
lose everything.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I love that when he first walks in, Glenn is like, "Oh, you're not like half the boogeyman I thought you'd be," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Um, they just kind of laughs in his face, and that makes me think that that's why they had to walk as opposed to any other thing, and why they couldn't bring any comforts with them and they had to scavenge, is like that last walk from Colorado to Las Vegas was their final tempering, preparing them to
How
realize the evil's no worse in this travel that we're doing.
right.
Like that's the easy part, that's the band-aid, we just have to like stand up to it. Like the hardest part is the fear going up the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And without like doing that, they wouldn't have been in a place mentally or like spiritually to take
Prepared.
on
Right.
something that can't be taken on in conventional means. Like they couldn't have physically fought them in one. They had
Yeah.
too many resources.
Absolutely.
Thomas, I you're writing these down before our meetings.
Yes.
You're writing this down before the meetings. I can tell. There's no way you just
You
came
have
up
to
with
be.
that off the top of your head.
I
Don't do that.
I was thinking sort of the same thing though at one point. Uh so okay, when they first when they first get the instruction from Mother Abigail, they have to walk whatever's, can't take anything with you, just whatever's on your back. You're thinking that's the dumbest thing ever. Of course they're thinking it. Um but I think in hindsight, once you see what they go through and what they're going to, um they do need that hardship and the
Hmm.
time that it takes to get there, to walk there from Boulder to
Hmm.
Las Vegas. Uh, all of the hours of thinking that they
Hmm.
had to do in preparation. They're terrified, of course, but I think even Larry says at one point it's already when they're taken out of him and Ralph are taken out of their jail cells and are basically being taken to their death, Larry says something about feeling afraid, but he still felt at peace, I think. It was something like that. And I knew what he meant, because that journey there prepared him for it. I'm also thinking now, how long did it take them? Do you remember how long it took them to get from Boulder to... I guess they didn't actually walk to Las Vegas the last few miles or so. They were in a car. But was it over a month? Was it 40 days, maybe, perhaps?
No, here it is.
40 days and 40 nights.
Oh, okay.
September
Okay.
6th.
See what I'm
I
saying?
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering if, because isn't it... I don't know my Bible as well as I should.
Well, I believe, okay, so when Noah and all the animals got into the ark, didn't it rain continuously for 40 days and 40 nights before it let up and then the flood waters went down?
Yes, that is true. But then there's also the point where Jesus fasts and he goes out into the desert. I believe
okay.
for 40 days and 40 nights. And I think that's not long before the Last Supper and when he dies.
Okay.
If I'm remembering my Bible correctly. So I'm wondering almost if that journey is sort of them. It was a fast and preparation, I think, to sort of to prepare Jesus for what was coming.
Oh, yeah, you're correct. So I just looked it up. Fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Yep. You got it.
And it was also when he was tempted on several occasions by the devil to, I think, wasn't there something like jump off of this cliff or whatever, and
yeah, that was one.
I'll give you
turn stones into bread.
Or yeah, that's yeah. He was tempted, I think, 3 times. Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The third one is bow down before me and I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That made me think of their whole journey there, made me think of that too.
I never made that connection, but yeah, that does make a lot of sense. What is up with the fact? Oh, go ahead.
I was just laughing at Glenn because I think he's awesome. I had flipped open to when Randall, Flagg, and Lloyd and him are talking, and he's just like laughing at him. And it's like, stop me with your finger, make the sign of the inverted cross, like kill me without touching me, like do it. Mm-hmm. He's like laughing, and the Dark Man's like telling Lloyd to shoot him, and I find it interesting that he doesn't do anything because he's so mad. Like maybe he's holding back so he doesn't lose it and go all Antichrist or whatever. but then Glenn says, if you have to shoot somebody, Mr. Henry, shoot him.
Yeah.
Like, what a badass. He knows he's about to die. And he's just like, y'all are small.
It's so great. He always has such great lines and great words. He's awesome. I love Glenn.
What's up with... So we got not only Trash Can Man, but then we also have a Rat Man as well. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, so
the rat.
Again, in classic Stephen King fashion, Rat Man just shows up out of nowhere, and I kept thinking, did I miss that somewhere, or did I read about Rat Man and completely forget about it? And then I realized it's like, nope, I think he's just here now. He's just been a character. He just, all of a sudden, he's here.
He did seem natural, didn't he? Like, I remember reading about the Rat Man just being like,
okay, sure.
Just hanging out.
No introduction. He's just here. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, that is true. And at first, when I first read his name, I kept thinking, is that Trash Can Man? And it's like another nickname? I'm so confused. And then I think they have a description of it. I was like, okay, no, that's... And I think at that point I had forgotten that Trash was still out in the desert trying to bring the A-bomb back. I completely forgot about that.
And
because it's not
that,
a big
I was
moment,
just thinking
I
about
guess.
it. Do you root? I remember reading Trash Can Man trying to get the A-bomb, and like the way it's written, you almost root for him. You're like, man, I hope he gets it out of here because that's his mission.
Yeah.
He wants to live. He wants to show penance for his, mistakes and improve himself. And yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know how you're gonna get that out of there with no elevator. But good luck to
They
you.
strap into something and it like doesn't work or it breaks. I can't remember.
I think so.
But I didn't think about that till now. But how it's so funny that like I remember reading it and being like, "Oh, Trash Can Man, like hope it works out for you, buddy."
And then it just sort of goes on, and I completely forgot about him. Maybe that was the point. I don't know. Because all of a sudden, here he comes rolling in with his A-bomb. And I thought, oh, this is how it's going to end. I see now.
It's like, take it away, man.
Please. Yeah.
Thomas, I think I brought this up earlier, but so since King basically says Stu is Frodo, and he's got his broken leg, and then he makes that climb to the top of the giant ditch. Did you draw parallels between that and Frodo climbing that mountain that he climbs? Whatever it's called.
Mountain Doom.
That one.
Mountain
Dew, yeah.
Yeah, when he climbs Mountain Dew. Yeah,
Mountain Dew.
Climb Mountain Dew.
He takes some sips along the way.
Well, I remember that particular part just being so strong because you think he's dead. We haven't seen him in a while. They left him, and then it like zips back to him, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
Stu awoke, and you're like, "Huh?"
And then the earthquake like starts to happen, and like we know what it is,
right?
And so like that whole scene with him trying to use the last of his strength, like he knows he's dying, just to get up there and see. Yeah, I need to reread Lord of the Rings, but that definitely had
me too.
Frodo, Sam at the end, like, let's see this through to the best of our ability.
I did not even think about that, but you're totally right because Frodo at that point is so exhausted and so weary, and I think almost on the verge of death. And Sam carries him that last bit. Which is what Kojak does. To get him.
Good boy.
I know. Best dog. He's the best dog ever. He brought him rabbits and wood. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a good parallel. I like that. And Stu is obviously like on the verge of death at that point. Interesting. I do like that. Never thought about that.
I just remembered that Stephen King did his little like show you a little bit of what I'm gonna do when it's like that brief instance from Kojak's perspective, and then the chapter ends with like something like Glenn Bateman would never walk back this way, but Kojak would live on for like another 16 years or something like that.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, cool. Like that sucks that like we know Glenn's not coming back, but like, hey, at least Kojak gets through. Like...
When I read that, I kept thinking, I was like, well, maybe Glenn does. Maybe he just means it was wishful thinking. Maybe he just means Glenn doesn't live nearly as long as Kojak. He lives, just not as long. I don't know. I knew what it meant. Oh, and then there's the I don't remember what chapter it is, but it's when they finally convince Larry to leave Stu behind, and it ends the chapter with, and they never saw Stu again.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a really good
another one of those. And God, every time I come across those, it just makes me really sad to read that one little sentence. But I'm thinking Stu totally is gonna die. These three are coming back, just a different way.
Yeah, I didn't
somehow
think about
they
how
come
that
back.
like kind of like intersects.
Yeah.
That, like the other ones die, and then it comes back to
Right.
Stu, and you're like, oh damn, like look at him go.
Like they're dead, clearly. That's why they never saw Stu again. Makes sense. Yeah.
If
Sorry.
if you guys like all the parallels between The Stand and Lord of the Rings, so I'm basically reading Gunslinger and Lord of the Rings simultaneously, like at the same
Oh,
time.
okay. Yeah.
And the
It's an Ouroboros.
and
Snake.
the parallels continue. Um
Okay.
I'm kind of at a point in Gunslinger is so short. So if we do that one next, we'll be able to just
Yeah,
like
it's real
blaze
quick.
right through it. Like it's
Right,
ridiculously
no.
short.
I'll
It's like
definitely move
300
faster
pages
through
or something like that.
through that.
Yeah. But I almost wonder now if the Man in Black, who's Randall Flagg, I'm starting to think he's based off of is it the Nazgul, the Dark Riders?
Yeah,
Well, yes,
Nazgul
there
are the
is the
Dark Riders,
Nazgul.
yeah.
There's 8 of them. Is it 8?
I thought it was
It's
9.
Yeah, it's 9.
one of them is 9. Yeah, because it's the 9 kings of men that were
Yeah.
corrupted. Yeah, and they became the Nazgul. Yeah.
There's this
Oh, wait.
scene where
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh
I guess I was gonna say, are you hinting at that there is more of him? Like he's not the only one?
you mean Randall Flagg?
Yeah, because you were saying he's like a comparison or parallel to the Nazgul, and there are 9 of them. Not
Oh,
that
you know
there are like
what?
9
Oh,
Randall
that's
Flaggs,
another
but
thing to think
like
about.
if there's
Yeah.
more than one, I don't know.
I wasn't hinting at that, but you know what? Yeah, maybe that's something he was hinting at because
Okay, maybe.
because
I don't know. I
I'm
mean, I've
reading
never read
them.
it, so.
Yeah, reading them side by side. There's one scene where you're like, oh, okay, because the Black Rider, Dark Rider, yeah, Black Rider, and then the Man in Black.
Yeah.
It's like the scene is basically
Right.
exactly the
Okay.
same. Yeah.
I see.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I was originally comparing him to Sauron, which feels just very, very obvious, I guess, because yeah.
I don't
That
know.
as
Now that I
well.
think about
Yeah.
it, it makes more sense that he'd be like, a parallel of the Black Riders, because the Black Riders, like when they move, their main tool, like when dealing with people, is like the fear that they cause when they're near things, which is like very Randall Flaggy. And
Yeah.
they're not the orchestrators of the like darkness in the world. They're like the right hand of it. And that kind of fits in with Randall Flagg too, where like he doesn't make evil, he just like makes sure it gets done.
Right.
And like that Sauron entity, which in the books never really does much. Like he's very limited in his ability. Like is the actual like dark evil entity. And I think in the Dark Tower series, there's a parallel to that concept as well.
Yeah, I think it is closer to Nazgul than Sauron himself.
Only one way to find out.
We may
And
never
now
know.
I wonder, can you kill a Nazgul with an A-bomb? I feel like you probably could.
You probably could. I mean, I like to think that you could probably kill most things with an A-bomb. Maybe, maybe not a god, because technically Sauron is a god, I believe.
Somebody's got to have asked this question. Let's see what the internet says.
But,
can you kill Nazgul
with an atomic bomb?
This is totally going off track, but y'all remember, actually, is Yahoo Answers still around? Y'all remember that? I don't know if it's still around. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I hope it is, because my brother and me is one of my favorite like podcasts. I love the McElroy family. Have you guys ever listened to it?
Mm-mm.
So it's three Chucklefuck brothers and their dad. Well, no, that's a D&D one. So three brothers.
Hmm.
They read Yahoo answer questions and then give advice, and it's fucking hilarious.
Okay, that's
It's so
amazing.
funny, and they're
Because
like
there's
our
some
age or a little older.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. There's some great questions out there on Yahoo
Good stuff.
Answers. So in college, a little bit of a departure here. My college roommate and we would watch the extended versions of Lord of the Rings on almost a weekly basis, and often we would play a Lord of the Rings drinking game. The kind where like every time this thing happens or this person says this, you'd take a drink.
Yeah, I love those games.
You can Google it, and we actually had printed it out because it has like cute little character drawings on it, and we like pasted it on the wall in our apartment.
Can you post those rules? Can we stop talking
Yeah.
about the stand and talk about that instead?
Yes,
Yeah.
I will look it up. Okay.
This is the best
We
departure.
gotta do this. We gotta.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, actually, no. Now that I'm talking about it, we actually do need to do this.
Yeah, and Misha and I
Absolutely.
actually just recently watched through all of Lord of the Rings. Like, it's something that she likes to do regularly. Like, there's
Yep,
a group
me
of
too.
us that want to do this.
Okay, I'm so
Nice.
down because Bo and I watched them. It was like maybe 6 months ago, but I used to do it regularly, and
Yeah, I'm down to watch it again already.
I need to get back to it. Okay. So if you Google it, there's tons of different ones out there, but this is the one that we always would go off of.
There's the ding.
I found instructions for a different one, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm curious. I've never looked. Schedule it on a weekend.
It's like scheduled
Yeah,
on a
no, you're
weekend.
you're definitely
I
gonna
thought it
want
was
to do
gonna
a
be the
weekend.
rules. But it's Jeremy saying,
Those are the
doing
rules.
logistics in the. Oh, that's so
Don't do this
cute.
during the work week.
You could if you wanted, but you would hurt the next day.
Oh
There's a
man.
close up of the ring, man. That's gonna fuck us up.
Yeah, panoramic
Panoramic
scenery shot.
Oh my gosh.
Merry and Pippin get up to shenanigans.
Gandalf's so serious.
Intimate moment between Frodo and Sam. Yeah. Frodo wanders away from the group. I always like that one because you don't really, if you're not watching for it, you don't realize how often he wanders away from the group until you're playing this game. Legolas doesn't understand emotions / says something obvious.
Legolas looks into the distance. This is so awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
This one says, "Take a drink whenever Golem says my precious."
Oh,
Yep,
no.
that's the last one in the one that I sent. That's the last one under the hardcore mode.
Oh,
The ring is
gotcha,
referred
gotcha.
to as precious.
Nice.
So awesome. Well,
yeah, we had printed that out and like practically framed it. Anyway.
Let's do it with the stand. Every time Harold makes you cringe, you drink.
Oof.
That'll be our
Yeah.
first live stream. If we get 20,
Oof.
if we get 20 followers, we'll live stream that for 4 fucking
We have
hours, 3
9
times. Never mind.
we have-
doing that.
We have 9 more to go. Wait.
Let's
Yeah, no, that's right.
let's see where are we at? How far are we from hitting 20? Let's see. I'll check it in real time.
Higher.
Maybe we gained one in the last several hours.
We're up to 12 now.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yep, I just checked.
It's amazing.
We're getting so close to 20.
I'm ready.
We don't have the equipment to do what I just promised, so sorry. We can't do that.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Why do we do this podcast?
I have, so I told Thomas already, but I want to ask Christy, so I'm really interested. So where do you think Randall Flagg's power comes from? Because you'll notice he starts to lose his power.
He does have to lose it, yeah.
So where do you think it comes from, and why do you think he was losing power at the end there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know that I really thought about it. Well, I mean, I was curious about it kind of the whole time, especially when he started to lose it, because that basically means that his power is not really his, or he's not. He doesn't always have that. And in fact, I think there's a point where he talks about, or sort of describes him gaining his power as the not pandemic, the super flu or whatever. Saying the pandemic just makes me think of COVID. Which it was a pandemic, I guess. He talks about gaining his powers as I think the virus sort of breaks free and then slowly and then quickly spreads and everybody starts dying off. He's just getting stronger and stronger as that goes. So I don't know that I really ever thought about too hard quite yet where he might have gotten it, and also where he went, because he disappeared right before the A-bomb goes off. He blinks out of existence and leaves his clothes behind.
I don't remember that part, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, because it described where he was just gone, right? And for a split second, his clothes are in the shape of his body, still standing upright, and then they fall in a heap to the ground. It's kind of funny.
I think at first, I could be remembering this wrong, but at first, Thomas and I were wondering if his power, if it was kind of like yin and yang between him and Mother Abigail, so that when she passed on and died, so there was like no force for good to basically be the counter against him. So I think at first we theorized that he was losing power because there wasn't that counterbalance to him.
Yeah.
But then, ironically, apparently that was unclear in the book, because when they went back and did the Stand, like the Stand TV show, a few years ago,
the newer one, right?
Okay, the newer one. So Stephen King actually did writing for the last episode. I don't think he did writing for any other episode, but he writes for the last episode, and he makes it explicit and very clear where his power comes from. Almost like he was like, yeah. So
I remember having a brief thought at one point, because it is after Mother Abigail has died, and after the four have left Boulder. I think it's even after Harold dies, and then we finally get back to Randall Flagg and his perspective, and to Vegas. And that's the first time that you see him start to weaken, I guess. So I do remember having a brief thought that it's interesting that he's weakening now that Mother Abigail has died, instead of almost growing stronger, because I kind of would have thought the opposite. I think I kept thinking Mother Abigail's gone, right, when she went off on her little pilgrimage or whatever, and she came back and she was extremely frail, and thinking, oh man, she's clearly gonna die. Randall Flagg is gonna be even more powerful now. How could he not be, right? There's not this other force sort of holding him back almost. And then she dies, and it's actually the opposite. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because when we were talking, we were saying like it was kind of a balance thing, that like the nature of the struggle on this is the balance between good and evil, and now that the balance is shifting, like he can't maintain that strength level.
You can't have one without the other. Yeah, basically, yeah.
But also, I think a big part of it too is him losing the cohesion of the dark forces that he's gathered, because they all start to like lose faith in him there at the end. That girl Whitney starts screaming out how like this is horrible and we can't do this, and it's turning the audience per se, which kind of goes back to that idea we talked about before, like the paradigm where now that there's less people to believe and interact with the supernatural, the supernatural's stronger. That like as like he stops having that chokehold of fear on everybody, like it's driving him crazy, and it kind of makes not only is he losing power, but like he's losing his sanity too, like his ability to perform. And that might feed into it too, that as he like loses composure, like he bleeds out like the energy.
Yeah, he loses more and more as he keeps losing composure. Yeah.
And that felt a lot like the ending of It to me. Like I was seeing like a lot of parallels between that and It, and it's almost like, you know, that's you're starting to get an idea of like how his overall universe functions, which was really interesting to me.
That fits in perfectly. It like feeding on fear, and like fear makes him strong. Or strong, excuse me.
Yeah,
definitely.
Does it look like the sun is like behind me, or is that just on my? Okay,
no, it's because
I'm like looking at my camera, and I'm like, that looks.
He has harnessed the power of the sun in his home.
Yeah,
it does actually. It looks brighter than when you first sat down and joined the meeting.
We'll have to watch the video when we post it. And
is the light bulb about to go out? Because they get brighter before they go. That's first. Well, I guess old light bulbs too.
Guys, I'm scared.
It's very bright back there.
Yep. Hear any humming noises? The hair on your arm.
Is it the hand of God? Is it the A-bomb?
It is.
That'll keep you safe. Just sip up.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Where would you guys rate this compared to the other Stephen King books you've read? Because I want to say I was reading this interview with Stephen King, and he said, hands down among fans, The Stand is my most popular novel out of all of them. So where would you guys rank this?
I think Salem's Lot is still my favorite. Now, I will say I haven't read it in a really long time, so I am due for a reread, and I do have it with me so that I can do that. But I just remember the first time I read that book, and oh man, it was so good. I loved it. And so it's always stuck with me, even through all the Stephen King books that I've read after that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What about you, Thomas? You know, it's hard to, I don't want to cop out and be like, I like them all. And I haven't read all of Stephen King's books, of course.
I also haven't read them all either. So there's still a lot that I haven't read.
And they're so different. I really enjoyed this one, especially having read some other books and seeing Randall Flagg and like the connections in like his multiverse.
Yeah.
But I always, when I think about Stephen King, I think about Under the Dome, because I just think that book is just incredible. And there's no supernatural element in Under the Dome. And usually, like, you know, I'm all about the fantasy and the magic and stuff like that. And that's what impressed me so much about Under the Dome, is that like it's just those people in that town that got domed over. So it's up there. It's great Stephen King. Put it in my number 2 slot for his like standalone novels.
Yeah.
But it's so different than it. It's so different than all the other ones.
Yeah, it really is. It's very, very different. I think I would put it ahead of it, and it would probably take the second spot. But when you start to see all the connections to like the Dark Tower,
everything else,
it gets you really pumped up, because you're like, oh yeah, it's weird experiencing Randall Flagg a second time because you're like, oh, he's like an old friend, but not a friend. He's
not a friend that
you
you
know?
want. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It might end up taking the #1 spot, like as I go through Dark Tower, just because there's all those cool like interrelated characters. So
Right.
we'll see.
I do love it a lot. That's a great
Yeah.
one. It is a very
Yeah.
good
So
one.
good.
I still haven't watched the remake of the movie. Well,
I may
there's
have
two. I
asked
guess
this.
there's
Have
two
y'all
parts.
have y'all read Under the Dome?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay.
But it was like the year the book came out, so that was
Oh
the
wow.
last time I
Same
read
here.
it.
It
So
was a
it
lot,
was a
like
while.
10 years ago or more.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So yeah, at this point I'm due for a reread on a lot of the books that of his that I've read, other than some of his more recent ones that have come out in the last 5 years or so. So, and then of course just reading all the other ones I have never read.
So
Have
many.
we officially agreed on the next Stephen King book that we're going
We
to read?
have not.
We have to
We
start
have
talking
not.
about
I
that
think
since
we
we're
should
about to finish
start.
the
Yeah,
stand.
because next meeting I will be
Oh,
actually
that's
before
true.
next meeting I'll be done with the stand fully, so we should discuss it.
I didn't know if you guys needed a break or something. Like did you just
No,
No, I'm
no
down to
break
keep
from
going.
reading.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
unless you would like a break, that's totally fine.
No.
Okay.
I think Jeremy's fire is lit, is what it sounds
Yeah,
like.
that's what
Yeah.
it sounds like to me.
I didn't want to be like, let's go right into the next book, well, but
You're like,
I
hold up. No.
No, I think we
Yeah.
should. I like doing this every Friday.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love it.
If we need a break, we could do like a movie night where we watch The Stand. I mean, it is 6 hours long, so
Yeah, that's a very long movie night.
That's a bad break.
Yeah, I don't know if that's totally a break. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. That's true. It's a break from reading, at least.
That's true. You just stare at a TV. It's mindless. You don't have to imagine anything. It's there for you.
I like my entertainment to happen to me.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
What were you guys thinking? What do you want to jump into?
I would love the Gunslinger, but I know that you're reading it / just read it, and I kind of rather us do something that we haven't like gotten our toes into yet.
It's kind of how I feel too. But
I'm in
totally
the middle
down.
of it right now. I'm in the middle of it right now, and it is awesome because it relates to The Stand so much.
Right.
Would be fun conversations. Chrissy, you were gonna say an idea? I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that's okay. I was gonna say, I kind of feel like the natural progression is the Gunslinger, but I didn't want to like have Jeremy start over or be done sooner than we are because you're halfway through already. But
stop and read Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go. There you go.
Exactly. I started Lord of the Rings because I was like, I gotta kind of slow myself down here because
Jeremy's
it's a great way to
devouring
slow
over there.
yourself down is to read Lord.
I did The Stand, then I did Fairy Tale, then I did The Institute, then I started on Gunslinger, and I was like, I was like, I have to slow myself down here somehow and like read a different series.
Yeah.
So
I'm down. I gotta go get it. Not that that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not mad about having to go buy another book. Buying books does not make me sad.
I can try and trade in
purchases.
Yeah.
that massive MacBook so that I can get some copies.
There you go. But I can probably get one this weekend or something.
Yeah, I'll pick up the Gunslinger this weekend, and won't start it until I think after next week's, because that'll be the very end of the Stand. Which honestly, there's a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
There's not much left, but I know that there's going to be a lot to unpack in just that small. Like, look how especially compared to the rest of the book. But this is all I have left to read,
Oh
Just this
wow.
Such a
little
cute little sliver.
thin
Sliver.
sliver
What's the
of
bookmark?
book.
What's the bookmark?
Oh, it is
So excited.
oh, I haven't told you guys this. Okay, so I pay for a monthly subscription and it is called Book of the Month.
Oh really?
And this is what it says on the other side.
Oh, nice, nice.
So it's a
Hmm.
monthly subscription and I feel like I'm promoting a sponsor.
Yeah.
If you believe in
You
the
never know.
product, let
Yeah.
the people know.
No, it's really awesome. I've had it for a few years now, but I signed up for it during the height of COVID. And every month they have between, I think, 4 to 6 books that you can sort of mark as this is my book of the month. And they charge your card. There's a few different plans I think you can choose from. They charge a card every month, and then it adds a credit to your account, so you can use that credit to choose a book of the month. Now you can sort of skip if you're like, I need to hold off. I'm like not finishing my books as quickly, or I'm really busy or whatever. You can sort of don't. I'm not going to choose a book for this month, and it doesn't add a credit to your account or chart, and it so I have a huge stack of books
Oh,
from
dang.
just from that. So every month you get to
Yeah.
choose, and there's a mobile app, and you can like look at each book and read a synopsis. You can read reviews on it. You can read I think like the first few pages just to sort of get an idea of what it is. They usually have like tags as far as like this is a really long book or this is a first time author or something like that, and tells you what the genre is and all of this, and it's really really awesome. um, and then you select your book and they ship it to you like a week later, and it's great. So I have a ton of their bookmarks because every time I get a book they put a bookmark in it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And
Huh.
then I think after I don't remember how many boxes it is, but after so many boxes that you get from them, you become their like BFF, and you get all these like extra little add-ons and things.
Oh,
Cute.
interesting.
Yeah.
So how many
I'm gonna
books do
look
you
into
have?
that.
You just have like stacks and stacks at
I
this point?
have, well, I have quite a few. I will say I have more than there. Okay, so there was a period of time where I wasn't ordering any books, so I had got my credits just stacked up.
Hmm.
And so I basically got to choose a book for my book that particular month, but then I got to you can always do an add-on as well, but typically you have to pay a little bit extra to do an add-on. But I had all these credits, so I would do like 3 add-ons and use 3 credits, so it was all free because
Nice.
I'd basically already paid for it because of the subscription that I've got, but I just paid for it previously. So I've gotten I've many times I've gotten 4 new books in the mail and just haven't gotten to all of them because
That's a
it's
lot of
exciting.
reading.
It is. It's exciting. I think
Oh, wow.
not anybody else, but a lot of other people would probably feel overwhelmed, but it just excites me when I get new books,
Never enough books.
even if I can't get to them right away. So, yeah.
Is that your bookshelf in the background, Thomas?
That's
Oh, they're
a
me.
bookshelf in the background.
Oh,
Yes.
a bookshelf? Like one of many?
Oh
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's a few. I don't think the lighting's very good, but I got some Neil Gaiman, The Alchemist,
Oh, is
Salem
that
Plots up
Dune?
there, Dune, yeah,
Nice.
uh,
Uh,
Ender's Game,
Yeah, great
self-help book my
selection.
mom gave me that I'll never read. Um,
we had this discussion once about self-help books.
Nice.
I'm rolling on carpet. This is what that looks like. I'll post a
Well,
video of all my fantasy books and stuff out in the living room.
Nice.
Maybe it'll be our first short.
Did did you So I guess we're doing Gunslinger then. It sounds like.
I think
Yeah.
so.
All in agreement?
Yes.
I was
The
so
motion
excited.
on the floor
I say
to
aye.
accept the gunslinger.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Oh man. I was
Also-
hoping you guys would say Gunslinger, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to like sway you guys like either way. But I was just
I'm
like
so ready to read Gunslinger.
when I found the
Well,
the little
sorry.
links between Lord of the Rings and then Gunslinger, I was just like, oh, I need to tell them. Like
Let's do it.
the high speech of the elves, and then I was like, right, Thomas?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Okay, cool.
Also,
Alright,
on
let's
the
do it.
back of that bookmark, it said, "Please don't stop," and that sounds real desperate.
Yeah, sometimes I look at it and I'm thinking it sounds very desperate. Other times I'm thinking it sounds very sexual.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
other times I'm thinking, oh, it's just telling me, don't stop reading me. Please keep going. Yeah.
Nice. Looks like we're at about an hour.
Yeah, I
Closing
think so.
slutty thoughts.
Can't wait to play that Lord of the Rings drinking game.
Oh,
Watch
yes.
this with you guys. I'm so
Yes.
excited about that.
Yes.
I'm gonna print out the rules
I
Please
love it.
do.
so that we can refer to them.
We could have a reading at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it.
That's gonna be awesome. Super excited about that. Do we do like shots of like hard liquor or like
Oh,
what?
we would die.
I think you would. I think you would actually die. No. Whenever my roommate and I did it, we would just like get a drink and take a sip every time.
Oh, okay.
And then
okay.
if you finished your drink, then go make yourself another drink and
Okay.
keep on
Gotcha.
going. I think you might
Keep
actually
going.
die if you did shots,
Yeah.
especially for the extended
It's as many
versions.
ounces as pounds that each of us weigh at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have never played a drinking game before, so I don't really know how they work. If you had told me that you just do shots, I'd be like, oh, okay, I guess that's how they work.
I mean, to be fair, some of them do work like that.
Yeah.
It's you could do it that way. I think really hardcore drinkers, maybe they could do it, but I would advise against that. If you want to wake up the next day, I don't know.
Nice.
I still think they would die. The movies are so long and the rules are so good.
All right.
All right. Have a great weekend, guys. See ya.
Make good
Friends.
choices.
Bye.